It's the One Star Cowboys Podcast. I'm Kevin Turner, along with my good friends. It's John Machota, Saad Youssef, Kent Garrison. See him down there in the corner there on NFL schedule release night. And, it's kind of fun. These have all leaked out throughout the day, but at 7 o'clock, the big announcement, the Cowboys dropped their video. We can discuss that as well. But let's start with you, John. Hot thoughts on what came out. What's your headline of the Cowboys schedule release?
I mean, I am as cynical as it gets when it comes to schedule releases because we already know who the opponents are, and so I'm almost always downplaying it. I have never been more damn than when I saw the back end of the Cowboys schedule. And I love that I've seen people out there say, yeah, it kind of reminds me of the last couple. No, it's not like any of these previous. It's way worse. It's way worse the way they stacked it against them. I'll put the back end of that schedule up against any I've seen over the last decade plus for the Cowboys for what we know today. Obviously, injuries happen and things can change. And you know what? 3 of these games might not even be that great because something happened here or there. But to sit there and go, Philadelphia, Kansas City, Detroit, Minnesota, Los Angeles Chargers, and then Commanders all in that group. Have fun with that. So when I saw that, the first thing I thought of is that they better take care of business early. It's one of those schedules where the other one that I would say jumps out, but that jumped out when we knew who they were going to play, is that it's one of the very few years where I'm like, oh yeah, the road schedule is easier than the home schedule. And that doesn't happen very often, but there's just too many Raiders, Jets, who else? Panthers, and obviously the Giants, playing 4 of those road games where I pointed out an article that Saad and I wrote that just went up on The Athletic, that if you go out by the Vegas odds of the Cowboys' 8 home games, Arizona is the only team that has worse odds to win the Super Bowl. So essentially, Vegas thinks 7 of your 8 home opponents are better than you are. Actually, you know what? Maybe it's the Giants what it was. The Giants are the only one that you would have a better, because even the Cardinals have a higher odds to go to the Super Bowl than the Cowboys do. So again, this is right now. A lot of stuff will change. There'll be injuries. Some people will play better. Who knows how things will go. But it is wild to me when I look at that schedule. And I saw that back half, especially with it being Chiefs on Thanksgiving, and then you don't even get the 10 days after Thanksgiving. You go right to having to go to Detroit, which to me, when I look at the Cowboys schedule, I think the Detroit game, that's their toughest game. While a lot of people will say the Eagles, there's so much easy motivation for that Eagles game. They're going to be putting up the banner. A lot of people expect the Eagles to win, but it's also familiar territory. You've played there a bunch. Weather will probably be decent, so that won't be a factor early in the season. Both the teams know each other very well. That Detroit game, playing at night, that Thursday night game in Detroit, will be unlike any Detroit atmosphere that this Cowboys team has seen. This is not the Detroit atmosphere that they would have seen 3, 5, 6, 8, 10 years ago. That place will be crazy. So that's their toughest game to me. And to have the Chiefs be the one right before that, I didn't think there's any way that they would give them Lions, Chiefs back to back like that. So that to me is the thing that stood out the most.
Yeah, I mean, definitely piggybacking off of that, I think that stood out most to me too. But I'll take it a different angle and go with the scheduling. And 2 things stood out to me. Love the bye week right in the middle of the season. You got 9 games before, 8 games after. Love the bye week for them. Also, one thing that we should point out with that tough stretch, that is when you're hoping injury-wise, you have Trayvon Diggs and DeMarvion Overshown back for that stretch. So that should be a little boost. But scheduling-wise, one thing that stood out, the Cowboys have 4 Thursday games. And I know a lot of people are going to be inclined to right away jump at that and be like, oh, how dare the NFL? It's worth noting that of the 4, only 2 result in short weeks, because the first Thursday game is the season opener. And the second and another Thursday game is, as John pointed out, the one after Thanksgiving. So they have a full week. So it's only going into Thanksgiving and going into Christmas that you have the short week Thursday games. And then they have 2 Monday night games sandwiched between the bye. So that means even the first of their Monday night game doesn't really result in a short week, because after that Monday night game is the bye week. So only one of your 2 Monday night games results in a short week. Only 2 of your 4 Thursday games results in a short week. And I also like the fact that they get they start that brutal stretch against Philadelphia, but they have that game at home before you play Thanksgiving at home. So that's a little bit of a break for them as well that they haven't gotten too often. So those are from a logistical standpoint, those things stood out to me there.
Yeah, look at that. 3 of the first was it 6 games, noon games. McCarthy always loved those noon games. Look how many you get early in the season. I agree with you. Like, we don't know what to think yet of the Bears. We probably have a pretty good feeling of what to feel about the Giants. You look at that start, and it's like you better clean house in that first, let's say, 6 games. 5-1 would be fantastic. 4-2 is probably, that's probably reality. But if you can get off to that start and give yourself a little bit of leeway, when you hit that gauntlet of the Eagles, Chiefs, and Lions, and I understand that we don't really know what Minnesota is right now. We don't really know what the Chargers are going to be, but you feel like they're going to be a decent team. That is rough. That is rough. So win your games early. That was the number one thing that jumped out to me.
Yeah, you can't be losing into the Jets and the Panthers and the Giants early in the season, or that thing could spiral out of control. The team had a live stream going a little earlier today from the team's usual, like they do their golf outing. It used to be a thing where they had all of media out there. In the last 3 or 4 years, they haven't done that anymore. 5 years, maybe even longer. But during it, Micah Parsons said something about how he thinks that this is again going to be a 12-win team. I don't even see that. I can't see that with perfect health. I cannot see 12 wins on this schedule. For the thing Sod and I wrote, I had 9 wins. Vegas has it at 7.5 is the over-under right now. I think this is a 9-10 type win team if everything goes right, if Dak stays healthy and things like that. But that is a very tough schedule.
Yeah, and when it comes to games of the bad teams, quote unquote, the one that fascinates me most is Chicago, because you got Ben Johnson. It's on the road. It's going to be after the Giants game, and I think, and like I said, we don't know how all this is going to play out. But Chicago hasn't been a great team in the past, but that game is going to be a fascinating one to me because it's early in the season. We won't even know what to make of the Cowboys or the Bears at that point. I should remind you that I think it was week 2 or 3 of 2023 that the Cowboys went into Arizona and lost. And so that's a really weird trap game for me there. That, they on paper, you think they should win, but I'm not so sure that might be the case.
Yeah. The whole thing is kind of interesting too. Like, we remember was it Drew Lock against Cooper Rush? Was that Thanksgiving?
Yeah.
Okay. You got like huge ratings, and then we find out that they're going to just dump Cowboys and Chiefs on Thanksgiving. I thought that was wild. I think it's interesting. And of course, if you're a longtime listener of this podcast, later on, so we get closer to the year, we will have our season predictions, and we will guess who the Cowboys Thanksgiving halftime show presenter will be. I was also thinking about how before the George Pickens trade, this was, in terms of a Vegas, odds type thing, this is not a team that was expected to win over 50% of their games. And now I think they are, and you see the schedule, and we can play the game. We can map it out and go down the line. I think this is something everyone does, but that's okay. I think let's take a majority vote here and just see. If we have a 2-2, maybe we'll let the audience decide. At Eagles week 1, coming off a Super Bowl. Go ahead, boys.
I'll give the Cowboys a win in that game.
Whoa.
Yeah, I think that there will be, don't worry. I'll bring you back down to earth as the schedule unfolds. I just think that that's a good game for them to go in there. They'll be very motivated. Like I said, weather shouldn't be a factor. And there sometimes in those games like that, whether it be football, basketball, whatever, that there's a little bit of a letdown for the team that, they're getting the banner, their rings, whatever, that night or during that game or whatever like that. So obviously the place will be rocking. But I think that there's a chance for the Cowboys to come in there in a game that I don't think a lot of people will be picking them in. And so I got them upsetting them. Right now, the line in that game is Eagles -7.
Yeah, that's a tough one for me. I feel like it's going to be really good or really bad. There's really not going to be like the Cowboys lost 31-28. But for me, integrating Pickens into the offense week 1, no Trayvon, no DeMarvion Overshown, Savon Revolt Jr. in his debut. I can't pick the Cowboys winning that one. I think the Eagles are gonna take that by double digits.
I'll give them a loss too there. Kent, do you want to finish this thing off for us?
Yeah. I was gonna go L2 just because of all the new.
Now we'll go win in week 2. We all good there?
Yeah.
Now I think week 3 is worthy of a discussion. What do you think, John, about the Chicago Bears?
I think that you wanted to play Chicago later in the year, to be honest with you. I think you want to play them in bad weather. They are going to be, they're going to want to play. The Bears will be built to play inside. And you can just tell with some of the moves they've made, Luther Burden and such. Ben Johnson is not going to have some, you gave him Caleb Williams and you think he's going to take and put a governor on that car. He's going to do wild stuff. They're going to lose high scoring games. I can definitely see that game going either way. But give me the Cowboys in that one too.
Okay. Saad?
Yeah, I take the Cowboys sneaking out in that one. It'll be fascinating though, because you have everything that Ben Johnson's going to have going on. But I think that's the game where, you have Schottenheimer, first-time head coach, against Ben Johnson. And I think there'll be something made of that, because that'll be the first time on the schedule where it is one first year versus first year. But yeah, give me the Cowboys in that one.
I'll take the Cowboys too, but I do think the Bears signed me up for one of the most interesting teams in football this year, because I think there's a lot of ways that thing could go. That's probably maybe the most unpredictable team as well. Like, it wouldn't surprise you if they won 10 games, and it wouldn't surprise you if they won 4 games. Week 4, guys, I'm not going to go first on this one. Sunday night, the Fighting Jordan Loves at AT&T Stadium. Beautiful. Love circling anytime the Packers play the Cowboys. Saad, you go first on this one.
Man, that's really hard. I'm going to go with the Packers. I don't think it'll be a blowout or anything like that. I think it'll be a good game, but I'm going to go Packers, and I'm going to take Matthew Golden having a big game in that one.
Oh, no. John?
Yeah, I'm going Packers too. But still, I mean, that's a good start. On my schedule, I got them at 3-1 to start the season. So, yeah, maybe a little bit of a letdown there, kind of riding high. But, give me Packers.
Kent?
Cowboys.
God, you're going to make me do it, aren't you? I will say, because of the injuries to Trayvon Diggs and DeMarvion Overshown, I'll take the Packers, but only because of that. So that puts us at 2-2 on the group schedule. We all got them a couple wins here. Jets and Panthers. We good?
Yep.
All right. Yes.
4-2.
Yeah. Rico Dowdle, the Rico Dowdle revenge game.
That is the Rico Dowdle revenge game. Washington Commandos.
Let me just say right now, I got them at 5-1 right now. Okay.
Yeah, you do.
And I already told you I got them winning 9 games.
Things are about to go take a turn for the worse then.
So here we go.
Home against Washington, Sunday, October 19th. First of all, got to be a little regression from Washington, right? Am I crazy?
I would think so. In our thing that Saad and I wrote, I have them finishing 3rd in the NFC East, because I do think there will be a little bit more of they will be hunted now for the first time in probably 30 years. They will be hunted, and at least 20 years. We'll give them that. And it'll be interesting to see how they respond, because they will not be slept on by anybody. So I think there'll be a little bit of, I do think Jaden Daniels is still going to be a good quarterback, but I think there's going to be a little bit more coming down to earth than we saw the first year.
So you would give them a...
Yeah, I got them split with Washington. So yeah, I got them with this one. I got them losing this game.
Okay. Saad?
Yeah, I got them winning this game, but also splitting, so losing later on. But yeah, I think there will be I'm expecting a little bit of regression from Jaden Daniels. I just think the rest of the team could be a little bit better. And the reason why I ended up picking the Commanders to win the division, spoiler alert, was because we know the stats since 2004, no repeat champion. So now I'm not picking the Giants. So now it comes down to Cowboys or Commanders, and I just don't see the Cowboys winning the division. So by that logic, I just kind of defaulted into Commanders winning the division. But yeah, in this game alone, I do have the Cowboys.
Kent?
Cowboys.
I'll go Cowboys just to keep it that way. I agree, though. If we can all agree on a split there, that's good. So we'll be losing on Christmas Day. 5-2 on Netflix. 5-2. Are they going to give us a big halftime act on that one too? We had Beyonce last year. Are they going to
Beyonce?
They're probably going to run Jelly Roll out there. At Denver Broncos, I'm taking altitude for the win and a Cowboys loss.
Yeah, I'll go with the Cowboys loss there too, only because, then it'll have Jerry talking about Sean Payton after the game. So.
Oh my God. Oh, how spicy.
I agree. Loss.
Kent? Oh, that's three. We're good. I think it's more interesting, though, in our little exercise that we're doing here, if that Washington game was a loss here, and then they're 4-4.
And Sean Payton.
Yeah, 4-4 after the Sean Payton. Denver's like 7-1 or something. Like, oh no. But we'll just keep it going here. Arizona Cardinals, we'll take a win there, right? We all good with that?
Nope,
Yeah.
lost.
Oh, John.
Three losses in a row. They're out 5-1. They're 5-4 now.
Oh my God.
Going in the bye, need to regroup.
Okay, so the group here though is 6-3, right? We good into the bye? 6-3 into the bye sounds pretty good for any team. You'd love that. Maybe not the Chiefs or Bills, but yeah.
To make the playoffs, they probably will have to be 6-3 going into the bye.
Okay, and you've got on your list 5-4.
5-4, yeah.
Is it because the Cardinals are just a bit of a? What's the reasoning there?
No, I just don't like going by and go just okay. Like the same reason I took them to win the opener. Like I don't know. There's just some games that I think certain teams you'll overlook them and things like that. And I think Arizona could be that. Also, I just don't think that. I think Arizona could be a little bit better. Than what people think. Just to give you FanDuel right now. Odds to win the Super Bowl. Cowboys plus 4,700. Cardinals plus 45. So Cardinals are slightly better chance to win Super Bowl than Dallas Cowboys.
Okay, I would have thought the Pickens trade actually might have changed that, but okay. At Raiders, we good with the dub there?
Wait, hold on. Do the Cowboys win the bye? Because last year the bye was when Jerry went on the radio and did all that, and I think they took an L bye last
when
year.
He tried to get Sean and RJ fired.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I remember that was the weirdest bye week with everything that went down.
Last year was crazy. Okay, so we'll take a win there.
You just going to skip over the Jalen Smith revenge game? Or?
Oh, yeah. Dude.
Team?
Yeah, is Jalen going to make the team?
Swiping all over that play.
I'll put $100 on it that he's not.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
I hope he is.
Okay. You guys heard it here live. Yeah.
Okay. $100. It's 33 to each of you.
To all of us?
Yeah.
We each get 100?
You each get 33.
Okay.
$33.33. And a penny for good luck to Jalen. So 7-3 on the group. John, 6-4. Okay.
6-4.
Eagles at home. Sunday the 23rd.
Loss.
For John.
Nope. I just don't see them sweeping the Eagles. I got them winning the opener. What do you want from me?
Yeah.
Does it make you feel better if we switch them and I have them losing in the opener and then they win this one? Does that make you feel better?
No, it doesn't. But as a group, we gave them a loss in week 1. Are you good with the hedge here,
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, yeah. Whatever you guys want to do, it's fine.
Okay, we'll take that and we'll go to 8-3 while you're over there at 6-5.
Let me just say, I don't know. I don't see them getting to 8-3, but I don't know how we're going in terms of the wins. But like, since John did provide the disclaimer that he had them winning 9 games, in that same piece that he and I did together, I have them winning 10 games. I don't know exactly how how it gets there during our exercise here, but I see them as a 10-win football team.
Well, let's see if Kent and I are big enough homers to get these guys over the 10-game mark.
Hey, I say this all the time. As good as we sit here today, the Eagles look loaded and they're great. And everybody is talking about how awesome they are. But nobody's won the division back-to-back years since 2004. And the comp for me between the way that people probably feel about the Eagles and the Lions is really, if you're just in that week when Aiden Hutchinson got hurt, you just flip that with Saquon Barkley. Mm-hmm. If you tell me Saquon Barkley misses the rest of the season the way Hutchinson did, the Eagles aren't winning the Super Bowl. They're probably not even, they might win one playoff game. Like, they're not getting to the Super Bowl without Saquon Barkley. That was such a key piece to them getting there. Now, don't get me wrong, their defense and other things helped, but they had a lot of things break their way. Whereas obviously with the Cowboys, with the Lions, with the Niners, they were beat up, had a ton of injuries. So all you have to do with about 3 or 4 of these teams that we've talked about so far is have a couple key injuries, and it would completely change everything that we say about the game. So we can only judge it by what we see right now, including the Cowboys' health.
Yeah.
If you tell me, obviously Dak's the big one, but 40 missed games. That's 40 combined missed games just from their edge rushers. When you put in a full season missed by Sam Williams, you talk about Marshawn Nealon, Micah Parsons, and then DeMarcus Lawrence missing the whole season. Just those 4, their top 4 edge rushers missed a combined 40 games. Like, you're not going to just, next man up, we'll just overcome that. So, yes, right now is what I'm predicting, because all these teams are whatever healthy.
Sure.
But that doesn't mean that won't change 2 weeks into the season. And all of a sudden, the easiest one, I say Barkley, because I thought he was the MVP of the league last year. But let's just use the Commanders. Like, if Jaden Daniels goes down, like, you got them winning 5 games, you know?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, and we've seen this throughout. When the Patriots went 16-0 in 2007, then the next year they were supposed to be just as good, if not better. Then Brady tears his ACL, changes everything. Same thing when Peyton Manning went down a few years later, and then you go from playoffs every year to 1-15 with Curtis Painter. So a lot injuries will obviously change a lot. We're just kind of having fun right now, but
yeah, of course.
But as a healthy squad, I see this as what I wrote in the piece was I see their floor as like a 7 or 8 win team, and their ceiling is like a 11 win team.
I would say I would agree with you on that. On if they're healthy, you give me a couple key injuries, that floor can be 4 or 5 wins.
And there's so many questions on what the offensive line will be too. There's a lot going on there too. 8-3 for the group right now. 6-5 for John. Chiefs Thanksgiving Day, very fun, very fun. But I'll go loss. Sod?
Yeah, definitely a loss, but I think this is going to break the scale for the ratings. I think this is and it's not some hot take. This is going to be the highest rated regular season game of all time. And I know we'll talk about this, as you said, later, KT, but Post Malone has to do the halftime show for this.
I think that's got to be it.
You sure?
I'm not sure.
There's been a lot of momentum. There's been a lot of momentum over the last year or so for not just a halftime show like this, but a Super Bowl halftime show type thing from Creed. So if you're going to bring it back, now's the time to do it.
Yes, I think they're going to be on
this 80 times, John. It's not going to happen.
They're going to be on the
If you understand social media and that side of it, to not and obviously I just watching the Rangers run when like Creed showed up to one of those games I think it was they showed up to multiple games, but I was at one in the ALCS that they showed up to. I know they'd be on board. But I'm telling you get that dude flying around on that thing, whatever.
It's magic.
Yeah, like that thing is taking over the internet. Like it's such a missed opportunity to not do that.
Should have happened last year. And they went.
And I just think Post Malone's way too big for this now.
I don't know, man. The Jonas Brothers came back and did it.
Yeah, on their way back. He's still on his way up.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. There's a better chance of Post Malone doing the Super Bowl than doing this game.
Yeah.
I agree. I agree with that. He's too big. I just think the connection with, Patrick Mahomes coming back to hometown and Dak and Post Malone's relationship, I think Post Malone would have to be doing the Cowboys a huge favor if he did this.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
But we'll get Jelly Roll and Snoop, and it'll be fine.
8-4.
Post Malone and Taylor Swift, the two of them doing just a huge favor to Jerry.
With a Michael Jackson hologram.
Oh God. And Left Shark runs out there. 8-4, 6-6 for the John.
I don't know why we're not in charge of this stuff. This stuff's last
I know.
city.
I've been saying it for
not even
years.
difficult. I don't understand this.
At the Detroit Lions Thursday night after Thanksgiving. Rocking crowd. I'll give them a loss here based off the Lions' reputation as of right now. Saad, would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. John?
Yeah, loss. Yep.
So on yours, 6-7.
Yeah, pretty rocky
Okay.
right now.
Vikings, another team that there's just a lot riding on what the hell JJ McCarthy is or is not. I'll say Cowboys at home will get that dub.
What if it ends up being Rodgers?
He has not done enough to prove that he still has the Cowboys number, right? Those demons would not still, well, dude. That's a good question. Okay. As someone who doesn't think McCarthy's all that, I actually don't know that'd be that much of a drop off. I'll still say Cowboys win, but you did tighten that game up a little bit. That's 4 or 5 points on the spread for me right there.
Oh, absolutely. Especially because of just what they were able to do with Sam Darnold. I mean, to take that team to that level, if Aaron Rodgers is playing ball, which is obviously to ask a lot, but if he was all bought in and locked in, there's enough pieces around there that would make me pretty nervous. But yeah,
Aaron Jones, Justin Jefferson.
I got that as a Cowboys win.
Okay, Saad.
Yeah, I have that as a Cowboys win as well. But look, whether it's Aaron Rodgers or JJ McCarthy, I mean, it's not like this was, Tom Brady leaving and you're replacing. I mean, if it's Sam Darnold, how much worse? I mean, I know Sam Darnold had a great year last year, but just as a full quarterback, how much lower is JJ McCarthy? I'm not sure that it's that much lower than what Sam Darnold was, and they were so good with Sam Darnold.
Get John at 7-7. The group here at 9-5. Get the Harbaugh, the Chargers. The early game for the Chargers right there coming from the West Coast. So it'll be 10 a.m. their time. Man, I'm going to let you guys go on this one. You can flip a coin.
Yeah, you go on the Vegas odds on this one for if you go off the Super Bowl. Vikings, Chargers, Broncos, all same plus 2,800. So better favorite or better, more likely to win the Super Bowl than the Cowboys, Cardinals, Steelers, Bears, and Bucks. So,
okay.
I mean, Vegas right now has the Chargers and Vikings being pretty similar. So, I could see the Cowboys winning either one of these games or losing either one of them. But I mean, like I said, I have 9 wins, so I got them taking a loss here.
Okay. 7-8. Did we give? What do you think, Saad?
Yeah, I got them taking a loss here too. I think Jim Harbaugh in the second year is going to be, even better. So yeah, second year, right? Or is it third? Whatever it is, he's been there for a little bit.
Yeah,
second year. Yeah, right.
Yeah, because they won the national championship 2 years ago.
That's right. Yeah.
And that's why he got out of there before all the allegations hit. What? 2 years. Yep.
We decided a Christmas Day loss for the group, so 9-7 for at Washington, and then John, what do you have there to a win?
I have a win. Yes, over Washington. I think I feel pretty strongly that I felt really the last few years that they will split with Washington, split with Philadelphia.
Okay. Yeah. So the group 10-7, John 9-8. The Giants, I would like to have at a different time. I would always, until the Giants get good again, I would always like that to be a different game in a week 18, just in case you can sit it out because you're in the playoffs. Like stack up my wins to the Giants earlier in the year. And I'm no guarantee you beat them twice, but you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
And that's
I'm just surprised
show.
I'm just surprised that they have the Cowboys and the Giants for week 18. I would always put, at least with the current circumstances of the division, I would put Cowboys against the Commanders or Eagles or something like that, just because there could be so much on the line. But
yeah, they'll start out probably awful like we expect the Giants to, but then I figure by the end of the season, Jameis will be cooking by then, and so that game will probably end up being closer than what we think.
What'd you guys think about the schedule release video?
I didn't see it.
Oh, you haven't seen it?
Yeah, I saw part of it, but I mean, it was fine. It was Micah and CD, and it was good.
It wasn't my favorite. I guess I think I like it better than having like the guy who created Yellowstone doing some,
Well,
reading
you're
the
just
script.
completely anti-cowboy.
I'm not fully anti-cowboy. I just
don't like people getting boots and hats and things like that.
They basically just did because they did that big live stream today out on it feels very internal. It feels very insular. And I like when these things like anyone can, get into it. Like my wife knows that the funny Titans one from a couple years ago, like things like that go, well, this is not something that's going to go big on TikTok or something. But I know there's a lot of work and thought put into this. So I'm not like, I'm not doing that. And I couldn't have come up with anything better. But they were just going with, here's the live stream that they did earlier in the day. And they had Easter eggs in it all through the day. Like you saw that eagle, and here's some stuff. You're going to see in a second, you'll see there's a bear by a tree. It was a lot of that. So
yeah,
I didn't love it, but I'm not going to hate on it. It's a tough project there. Especially when
another opportunity you could have got Creed, they would have helped out. And
oh God, that's the play. It is the play.
It's every year it goes by, they don't do something to bring that back. Is just a huge missed opportunity.
It could have been that guy swinging back and forth,
oh
and
my
holding
God,
up a sign of who they play, and it would have been like, good, we're good.
I'm not saying that
just not even Creed.
Yeah, just that guy.
Just the acrobat.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say that I haven't laughed as hard, but I don't know that I've ever laughed harder in my life than. You got to keep in mind too, like this is when people first. It's not like the AI we have now, but the AI like 10 years ago was a little bit spottier. But whoever made the video and put Jerry's head and face on that guy and that acrobat, I mean, I was crying when I saw that. That was so good, man.
It's just one of the best things, and it just continues to get squandered.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to do right after this. I'm going to go see what the other teams did. See if the Chargers got some good ones. They're kind of the favorites. They're kind of the Chiefs of this thing right now.
When you guys look at the schedule, what would have been more ideal, do you think? Like, what's something that happened that you were like outside of, because to me, it's that back end of the schedule, like that's just a murderer's row, especially that 3 weeks, Eagles, Chiefs, Lions. That could be the three best teams in the entire NFL that you're playing 3 weeks in a row. But other than breaking that up, is there anything else that stands out to you?
I don't love that a potential week 17 game for the division is on short rest, against Washington. Now it'll be short rest for Washington too, right? So it's not like there's like some advantage, but I just don't love that. Like, I know the NFL's taking over Christmas Day and all that stuff. I know that's just what it is, but I think I would like for that to be a normal, Sunday night game or Sunday game, and not have, because that's potentially is it, that's potentially for the division. So I don't love that. The other thing that jumps out is just always fun to get new AFC teams. I know we're doing the rotation, but for Patrick Mahomes to play the Cowboys for the first time, I believe, is kind of incredible.
First time in
Dallas, yeah, because we played them there.
Yeah. Arlington, yeah.
I think one thing that kind of stood out to me just looking at the wider scope of the schedule with the division is that week 18 is Eagles Commanders, and Eagles Commanders play twice in the last 3 weeks. And that tells me that's kind of where me saying that why don't the Cowboys have the Commanders or the Eagles? It just tells me that the NFL thinks it's going to come down to Eagles or Commanders for the division because they have them twice in the last 3 weeks, including the final week, which is, to be determined start time. So I think the NFL is smelling Eagles Commanders down the stretch for the division.
Yeah, and that was the NFC Championship game, right? So that all makes sense. So, and look, I'll be honest. I'm not going to run from it. As the owner of the Packers, Week 4 has me thrilled. I love it when the Packers and Cowboys play. I also hate it, but it's just very nice.
Oh,
week
if we're talking
before
about
Sunday night, early in the
Yeah.
year, I kind of like that. So.
Oh, if we're talking about selfishly, yeah, no question. I was disappointed with December in Detroit. I was hoping that would be, sometime in September, maybe early October. That weather is going to suck for that. I mean, obviously the game will be inside, but in terms of going home and visiting family and stuff like that, I was hoping that would be earlier in the year. Also, just from a Cowboys perspective too, that I thought it would be earlier in the year too. I didn't think there's no way that you give me the teams they were going to play that I would have lined up Eagles, Chiefs, Lions 3 weeks in a row. Like this never would have done that.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, they have 4 games with the noon slot on a Sunday. Christmas is Thursday at noon, but 4 noon slot. And the Eagles, who just won the Super Bowl, have 6. And just to give you what the other side of the coin is like, the Carolina Panthers, I just randomly picked a bad team. They don't have their last 2 weeks of time. So out of 15 games, 12 are Sunday noon games for the Carolina Panthers. 12 out of 15, because the last 2 don't even have a time slot right now. So that's crazy to me how the Cowboys just always, it's such a rare thing to have a Sunday noon game.
Yeah.
That kind of surprised me though too in the schedule when that first leaked a couple days ago about them opening with the Eagles. Not because I don't think it's interesting, but I just think really that game and the Chiefs game, I just think are kind of a waste because those games already do numbers.
Yeah. That feels like a throwaway. Yeah.
Who do you think's the worst matchup the Cowboys could play on Thanksgiving? Honestly, it could be a semi-pro team. It's doing 30 million. You know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't matter who's hurt. I was going to say Joe Milton playing quarterback, but there could be some people that want to tune in for that. But I was thinking of like a backup situation. We'll say, like a third string quarterback. Yeah. No, I was going to go even worse than that. Like somebody that you're just like, I don't even know. But it still does 30 million. So it's like, why even put that game there where you can put Cowboys, Chiefs at any other time, and it does a monster number. And the same thing with Cowboys, Eagles. Like, I don't know who you could have put against anybody against the Eagles is going to do well for that. It's that Thursday night game. That's that game to start the season is always going to do great numbers too. But it just surprised me. That's like, it's kind of like why the Cowboys in a way haven't done another overseas game as much as I want them to, is because not only do they not want to give up a home game, but the opponent doesn't want to give up one of their home games with the Cowboys coming there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Hey, trivia question. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Trivia question. 3 teams without primetime games. Obviously, they can get flexed in.
Panthers
without a single one?
Yeah. Do you know who the 3 teams are?
Panthers got to be one.
Nope.
Raiders?
Nope.
Jacksonville.
Nope.
Damn.
Seattle.
Nope.
Falcons.
Nope.
Dallas Cowboys.
No, they have the most with
50.
the Chiefs have the most with 7. The Cowboys have 6. The Eagles tied for 6.
Giants?
Not the Giants.
Cleveland Browns.
Cleveland Browns don't have one.
New Orleans Saints.
New Orleans Saints don't have one.
Did we say Tennessee?
Tennessee. So the number 1 pick and the team that got Shedeur Sanders not in prime time at all. Like get the Saints, but I would have found a way to get the Browns or the Titans on there. It's the number 1 pick in the draft. He should get one primetime game. They'll on Thursday night.
You say that, but it's kind of funny because obviously being in Dallas, the news last couple of days has been the Mavericks winning that lottery. And the thing that I think about with that kind of, and it goes in with this whole year's draft, is it's like, of course, you always are excited if your team gets the number 1 pick in the draft, but like the Mavericks got it like in one of the years when like, it's like the best year to have it in a 10-year stretch. You know what I'm saying? Whereas like last year's first round pick in the NBA, you're just kind of like, whatever. Like when you say first overall pick, Cam Ward, I think is going to be a good player, whatever, but it's not like this is Andrew Luck or what Arch Manning or somebody like that will be. Like those guys, there's no chance they don't, but it's just like, and if you disagree with me on that, I will tell you that like watching that draft coverage told me all I needed to know, because I've never watched an NFL draft where they talk less about the number 1 overall pick, who was a quarterback. Now, there might have been some other ones where it's like an offensive lineman or something like that, but for it to be a quarterback and how little they talked about them, I think spoke volumes.
No doubt.
Wait, so KT, what were the teams again? It was Browns, Titans, Saints.
Titans, and Saints. Now the Browns have a game in England, so they get one standalone game, but no Saints, no Titans in prime time at all. In terms of standalone games, we're the only game going. The Cowboys, the Chiefs, and the Washington Commanders have 8. Those are your leaders. Eagles with 7, Lions with 7. Your standard teams you would expect.
Yeah, and also I think the Cowboys got off pretty good in terms of having all those primetime games and not having some huge schedule disadvantages. I mean, like I said off the top, they don't have too many bad short weeks and opponents and things like that. I think they got out pretty good with that.
Yeah, for sure.
So you guys got them making the playoffs then?
I do.
I think it's going to be close. It's going to be it's going to be down to the wild card tiebreaker. If they do, I have them going in as like a 7 seed.
I think they get in. I would not have said that before the George Pickens trade. I think that was such a big concern. And if that's handled, the offense has, and there's a lot to figure out about the offense, how the O-line hold up and the running back situation, all that stuff. But I do kind of feel like that's going to be enough to get out of the top. I'm also predicting a Washington decline. And I'm also think the Eagles are some shoe-in. I predict a little bit of a decline from Detroit. And those are like things you're kind of sitting there going, okay, now what about the 49ers who we always before the year are like, okay, let's put them in. I don't know. I got the Rams look pretty good right now. So there's some teams who are, it's a little different than it has been. I think they find a way with 7 spots to get in and 16 teams. I think they'll get in.
If you tell me the Eagles stay as healthy as they did last year, when I say it, it's not like they didn't have injuries, but to their key players, I can see them being pretty similar to what they were last year. But they were really fortunate in that department. And so, I don't know, we'll see. And if they aren't, then it's pretty wide open, really, in the NFC. There's not really a, super dominant, because even with, like you said, like the Lions, I can see them taking a little bit of a step back too, just because you have a new OC. And not to say that, I mean, there's a part of me that thinks that they were a little too Mike D'Antoni, if you take the NBA reference of put up a lot of points, but also that style doesn't really win in the postseason. Maybe you need to chill out on trick plays that, yes, they get 75-yard touchdowns, but also your defense is really beaten up. How about a 10-play drive here to run some clock, So they're losing that, but that's their offensive coordinator last 3 years. You can't just thumb your nose at that. Like, that's a big loss, So, yeah.
No,
and also the thing we always go back to, like, you'd much rather take the franchise quarterbacks there in the NFC. That's what you want to go against,
Dude,
Not that Jordan Love isn't a good player. Not that Jared Goff isn't a good player. Dak Prescott, Jalen Hurts. They're all very good players, but they're not Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow and Josh Allen and regular season Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, right. Well, the other thing too is like Liam Cohen gone from Tampa Bay. How does Baker? Do they hold up fine? Like, there's not some the Buccaneers are some dominant force. Like, there's not a single team in the NFC South that you would be afraid of at all. I
will say though,
I have no idea what to think of Seattle with Sam Darnold there now, and there's just a lot of questions, and I don't even know if the Packers are even going to be that good. Like, I don't even know. So I think you got a really good chance to make the playoffs with the way it's set. That's all. Unless someone thinks Michael Penix and the Falcons they're on the come.
Who would be your best shot of being a surprise team in the NFC for positive reasons?
Cardinals for me, probably.
That's a good one. Or is the Rams would not count as a surprise, right?
You go off these Vegas odds, it could be the Cowboys.
Could be the Cowboys. It's not the Carolina Panthers with sharp teeth and claws. No offense. It's not them yet. No,
I will say the Cowboys, the Pickens trade helps a lot with the talent. We did the podcast. We're all on board with it, all that stuff. But I am curious to see just how this whole transition in the locker room kind of goes over with new leadership. DeMarcus Lawrence left. Zach Martin's gone. We walked in the locker room at rookie camp, and Dak is next to Micah with the empty locker between the two, which could be Pickens. And I mean, that could be a really intriguing trio of lockers right there. Dak next to Pickens, who's next to Micah Parsons, and
beautiful.
Just everything that could be going on from a changing, in the locker room, and then how Brian Schottenheimer handles all that. I know we have all summer to break all those things down, but I'm just saying, like, it could be a really entertaining season for better or worse for Dallas.
If things are rolling, everything will be fine. Like like if they're winning games, there could be moments in games where CD's not getting the ball or Pickens isn't getting the ball and the body language doesn't look great, like walking to the sideline, things like that could be upset. But I think overall, everything will work itself out. It's like you start off that season not that strong, knowing what's coming later in the year, and the wheels start coming off with a first-time head coach and a new coaching staff. That's where I'm really interested to see how will they keep the train on the tracks. But if they start rolling like early in the season, I could see them being a playoff team and one of these teams that surprises. What about the Bears though, KT?
Yeah, I think a fascinating situation. Do they have enough? I know they made a lot of moves on the offensive line, and then you're sitting there going, okay, well, they've got some weapons on offense. Okay. Is their defense good enough? I don't know that they are.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not sure like that's some sure shot thing. They didn't spend a lot of money on defense either.
Here's the thing that's kind of interesting to me when talking about the NFC, though. Like, we know that year over year, there's always some surprise team from the bottom up, top down, things like that. But I feel like it looks really similar, that the NFC North is going to be an absolute gauntlet for everyone. The NFC East is, the Commanders surprise. What I'm saying is it feels like, at least on paper, it's going to be very similar to 2024. What you mentioned about the Bucs division in the NFC South, like, everything feels very similar, and that's not how it always goes. But it's so hard to even go out and pick something where the NFC North just sucks or something like that.
Yeah. The NFC North will play the AFC North too, which if the Steelers don't do anything at quarterback, you'd be going, okay, well, the Browns and Steelers are pretty easy wins. And then, obviously the Ravens and Bengals are probably going to be really good. So there we go. Hey, thanks to everyone who's watching us on YouTube as well. I appreciate that. And you can all get our podcast on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. For the most part, we have them. We're always around. We're around, especially, way more during the season, of course. I don't know when we will be back, but if anything happens that you need to know about, we will be back for that. If you want to check out our George Pickens episode, our previous one, you can go find that as well. Also follow John and Saad on The Athletic. They're doing good work. They did a good write-up, but had a lot of things, we kind of discussed in tonight's episode. So go check them out and give them your time, because they're good dudes doing good shit. And we like that. Oh, and don't forget the Mad About Movies podcast with Kent Garrison. My God. Bunch of big movies coming out. Big movies. Everyone loves the movies.
That's pretty good, man. That's pretty good. You've been working on that. That's good.
I've been working on it for like 10 years. It's still going.
Yeah. You'll probably be able to use it for at least 8 more. So
does anyone have a question for OJ? Manny wants to know. Never mind.
I got a question.
Yeah.
That John comment didn't get enough of a reaction.
No, it's fine. If people watching were asked to list Jack White's top 30 songs, do you think Seven Nation Army would be in there somewhere?
Well, he is not going to let this one go, is he?
The deep cuts are just, I can't let
that
it go.
That wasn't what we were doing. We weren't doing what are his top songs. It's what would we want. What we draft on our team.
I was on our board. The White Stripes was way down. We had some medical red flags on it, and we didn't draft him.
You know what you guys are? You guys are the bands that I hate to see. The ones that are like, well, we're not going to be playing the hits, guys. Deep cuts only. We do not play the hits.
Well, don't go see Jack White then, John.
That's true.
Hold on. I don't know if this last time you guys went, but the time before when he was at, I don't know if it was Trees. I think it was at Trees. He did Seven Nation Army, didn't he?
Of course he did.
I just don't understand why when they asked him to close the 50th anniversary concert for Saturday Night Live, why didn't they ask him to play in those other? That's weird that they would ask him to play. It is weird. It's so played out. Why would you do that? So weird. It's almost like people like that song and know it really well. Weird.
All right. Well, you go see Jelly Roll then, and we'll get back to you.
No, you don't you put that on me. That's not even fair.
I'll be honest. I was gonna do it, but once I saw where it was going, I was like, I'll just not. Was that spark a reaction? Whatever. It doesn't matter. Thank you guys. We'll talk to everyone next time. And yeah, man, good luck out there. I don't know. That's a good sign off.
No, Manny, I don't. That's why he brought it up.
Dude, everyone's allowed to like what they want. If you want to like Jelly Roll, like Jelly Roll. He's probably great. He's probably great.
I want to see you guys. I want to see you guys do a draft of his songs.
Okay, Kent, album of the day tomorrow. Jelly Roll. I don't fully know what genre he is.
How many songs do you guys even know?
I don't know a single one.
Really?
I wouldn't know the title of it. Something about, I hit it hard, man. I don't know.
Living tough. Is there one of those? Yeah. Living tough.
Yeah.
End the show, KT. What are we doing?
So,
Just chatting about Jelly Roll.
There's a dog over there. Okay, stolen joke. Bye, everyone. Thank you for listening to About Them Cowboys. We will see you next time. And yeah, good job, everyone. Bye. Love you.